First thing I want to do is get the pieces separated from the spool. I'm not concerned with how much of the spool is left attached to it. I just want to get them separated. This is the time that I actually want to cut away the spool as close to the piece as I can get it. Using my assortment of files, I'm going to file away anything that might be sticking out and shape the piece as necessary. Last, I use my utility knife to trim away any mold lines or anything that might appear to not belong. Then last, I want to make sure I understand how each piece goes together. Here I'm working on the Imperial Navigator. You have to go in the steps shown in the directions because there are certain pieces that have to go together first. If you don't follow these steps, they're pretty straightforward, but if you don't follow them, you'll have to take it apart and start over. Last is putting the model into the slot of the base. It appeared to me that it didn't fit, so I just trimmed or cut away whatever I needed so that it would eventually fit inside the slot. And here is the Mini completed. The next model I'm working on is Thaddeus the Purifier. Again, I just cut the pieces from the main spool. Then using my side cutters, I trim as close to the model as I can. I use the same steps on every model: cut, trim, and shape. On Thaddeus, there was a pistol that attached to some sort of tentacle. I did find it better to super glue this so that it would stay in place. And here is the finished model after the base was attached. For the Missionary Zealot, I actually forgot to turn the camera on, so I don't have any video of me putting it together. However, I do want to point out on this character that there's a hose that comes down from the weapon to, it looks like, the gas pack all the way down to the weapon itself. This is probably the fuel for the flamethrower. This was two separate pieces and they are supposed to fit together. However, I did find that it was better to super glue it together than to just let it sit there because it was kind of just flopping around. Up next was the Grout Tracker. This actually was a pretty easy one for me. It only had 4 pieces in here and they were fairly simple to put together. Putting it on the base, just the normal stuff that you would do with this. Nothing really important, no trickery or anything like that added to the whole thing. So it was really simple for me. Here's a look at the final model. Okay, starting to wind it down here. We're on to the last 3-4 models here. The next one up is the Ranger. This also was a fairly simple model with just 3 pieces. However, there were 2 things, 2 tricks to this, or one of them being a concern. There were some very small, thin pieces on here, and if you're not real careful, you can break them off. The other little thing that did apply here is that the front panel should be put on first, or has to be put on first, because this is going to fit through the hole in the main model, and then you're going to use the back with the pistol and attach that to the stub that's hanging out. So just remember to follow the instructions as you see in the book, and you shouldn't have too much trouble with this model. The next unit, the Rattling Twins. This is going to be a couple of unique units over here because they are two and count as one. I find this quite interesting because they have two different battle tactics that they can use to get through the map here. Now, on the first one, it is important to remember that the rifle fits through the front of it, and the backpack actually has the hole in it that attaches to the rifle with the body in between. So again, remember to follow the instructions over there to see how that actually goes. The second one was really quite simple, just a matter of 1, 2, 3 pieces that fit together. Other than being small, hard to press things together because they were so small. They were actually fairly simple. The second one has the grappling hook. I highly recommend being careful of that grappling hook because it is tiny and it can break if you're not very careful with it over here. Now last, the Imperial Robot. This is probably going to be one of my favorites because I do enjoy items that just cannot be destroyed or very hard to destroy. Means I'm going to last a lot longer. This one did have a couple of little tricky things in there. Again, the front and the back happen to be pressed together to form with the middle part of the body in there. The arms went on fairly well. The swing arm you could actually put in any position that you wanted. Now there's a hose that comes down from the robot's weapon and attaches to the back there. I believe I did have to super glue that to make sure that it stayed in place. Overall, I think most of these models went together fairly simple. They are snapped together. And I gave you a basic overview of what they really should look like and what to look for when putting these together. I'm going to have a lot of fun painting these because I'm going to be painting these. This is the first time that I'll be painting any minis whatsoever. So I think everything is going to come out fine if I just take my time. And that's one of the insights that I want to give you when putting these together. Make sure that you understand the instructions completely on how they're going to go together. And just take your time. There's no rush on this. Just take your time. Make sure you understand how the whole thing should go together. And I think you're going to be just fine. I turned out fine with a medical condition. Can't see, so if I can do it, I think you can do it too, just by taking your time. So the next video that we're going to have, I'm actually going to start painting some of these Explorer models. And that's going to be a lot of fun for me, and hopefully you will learn something from it too. So until next time, thank you for stopping by.